Okay, so it is 7 o'clock a.m. Eastern time here in Boston. So we'll get started so we can get the most out of our time together today. So welcome to the Community Online Academy and our back pain program. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Allie. I am a doctor of physical therapy as well as a nationally certified Pilates instructor. I founded the Pilates RX here in Boston, and I teach with the Community Online Academy every Thursday all day, so lots of different types of classes. But what we have here today is our traditional back pain program. It is 30 minutes, and we're going to be doing movement for pretty much the whole time today. We'll save a minute or two at the end for questions. We'll be doing some stretching, some strengthening, some joint mobility work, all to help target lower back pain. That being said, everyone's dealing with something a little bit different. Everybody's bodies are a little different. So I encourage you to listen to your body. Take the option that feels best for you today, and that's how you will get the most out of this program. So nothing we do should hurt your back, and if it does, you can always back off or take a modification and hop back in when you feel more comfortable. So we're going to get started lying down on our backs in a comfortable position. You can choose to either have your knees bent with your feet flat on the floor, or you can stretch your whole body out in that comfortable alignment. So find your comfortable resting pose here. Good morning, Robbie. Oops, I just want to make sure that you guys have a good view here. Okay. So we'll find that comfortable resting position down. I'm going to choose to have my knees bent, but if you'd like to stretch your legs all the way out, you can do so here. And just allow your body to rest down and melt onto the mat. In this setup here, take a moment to just quickly scan your body and get connected to how it feels. Being mindful about where our body is today is always helpful to help address the spots that need a little bit of attention. So we're just quickly scanning the body from the very top of the head down to the tips of the toes. And remembering that there's no right or wrong way for your body to feel right now. We're just here to notice it. And as you pay attention to how your body is feeling today, see if you can start to tune your attention to your breath. We're going to talk about our breath work a couple of times during the program today, but our breath is the foundation of how our back moves, as well as how to release some of the bigger muscles that tend to tighten up in our lower back. So I want you to rest your hands right on top of your navel here today, and imagine your lungs like a balloon. As you take your inhale breath in, imagine inflating the balloon from the bottom up to the top. So I want you to try and fill underneath your belly with air first, and then in your rib cage, then up high in your chest. And when you exhale, try and blow out from the bottom as well. So blowing out from your belly, then your ribs, then the top of your chest. Try taking your inhale breath in through the nose, and then an exhale breath out through the mouth. Good. Try that again. An inhale breath in through the nose, and then an exhale breath out through the mouth as you're blowing out through a straw. Good. 3 more times here. Big inhale in, fill up, lift, and expand with air. And an exhale breath out to release and let it go. Twice more like that. Big inhale, breath in, almost feel the air fill the backside of your rib cage as well. Exhale, breath out to release and let it go. And 1 more time here. Big inhale in, fill up and expand. And an exhale, breath out, release and let it go. Good. Now from here, we're going to go into some pelvic tilts. So I want you to very gently start to rock your tailbone front to back, making a very gentle range of motion in your lower back. And this should be comfortable. If this is the first moving you've done today, this might be a little bit stiff, and that's okay. If you imagine the space that naturally falls under your lower back, you want to open up that space and close the space. Open up that space and close the space. Good. So right now, you're probably making that a little bit of a bigger motion. I want you to see if you can do that same pelvic tilting without tightening your butt muscles and without pushing into your feet. So that makes it a little bit trickier. That should help you to feel some of your core muscles start to wake up and work here. You can pair this with your breathing to exhale as you close the space, inhale to open. Exhale to close, inhale to open. Good, 3 more. And open on up, exhale, close for 2. Good, 1 more time here. And then settle somewhere right into the middle. Good, so from here, walk your feet together and knees together and allow your arms to rest down by your side. Open up your collarbones and feel the heaviness of your head on the mat. From here, start to very gently rock your legs from side to side. This is going to introduce a little bit of rotation in your low back. So as you rock side to side, I'd like you to keep your knees together, your feet together, and just feel your spine sort of rolling comfortably from side to side. If it starts to bother you when you go a little bit farther, keep it in the range of motion that's comfortable. The point of this one really is to just bring some blood flow to the area and start to loosen up the joints. We're going to get into some of that deeper stretching a little bit later. So nice and easy here, side to side. Good. We'll try 4 more. And 3 more. Good. Last 2. And 1 more time here, and then settle somewhere right into the middle. Good. Now we're going to take this into a little hip stretch before we do some core work. But today we're going to try something called active release, which means instead of just passively stretching, we're going to try and engage the muscles and then stretch them. And that helps us to get a little deeper into these stretches. So push both feet down into the mat. And then you're going to draw the right knee in towards your chest, taking your hands behind the thigh, and just let your leg relax there. Now, I want you to try and push your leg away from you against the resistance of your hands, okay? So it's like you're trying to shoot that right leg out and away, pushing up against your hands. Hold that for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to gently pull the knee in towards your chest, take a stretch. We'll try that again. Hold the leg up, push against your thigh, push out for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pull it in towards your chest. 2 more times there. Push out with the thigh, reach. You may even hear a click or a pop in your hip, and that's okay. And then gently pull the knee in 1 more time. Push out, push, push, push against the back of your hand, and then gently pull the knee in and take a stretch. Good. Bring that foot down. We're going to try the same thing on the opposite side. So find your hands behind your thigh. It can be down low or up high, wherever you feel comfortable. And try and push the leg away. And I know it might not feel that powerful at first. That's okay. And then gently pull the knee in for a nice stretch. Again, push, push, push out and away. And then gently pull the knee in. We have 2 more times. Push out and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, and draw the knee in comfortably towards your chest. 1 more time here. Really actively push as though you're reaching your foot into a refrigerator and pushing it away. And then draw that knee in towards your chest. Excellent. So go ahead and place your feet down. We're going to take that now into a little bit of abdominal work. So a little bit of stretching and strengthening together. So you're going to draw the knee in towards your chest. Now hug on the top of your shin and reach the opposite leg out long. Now, if this feels like pressure on your low back, lift the leg up a little bit higher. If it feels really easy, you can lower it down towards the floor. Now, switch your legs in space. I want you guys to remember that feeling of pushing. So imagine that you're pushing and reaching the opposite leg out as you gently pull the knees in towards your chest. So we're still getting that nice hip stretch, but hopefully you can start to feel how your core muscles have to work to keep your back nice and steady on the mat. Good. Breathing here. There's no right or wrong way to breathe, but make sure you are breathing. And you can try taking those inhale breaths in through your nose and an exhale breath out through the mouth. Good. 3 more. That's it. Last 2. Good, guys. Once more here. Good. And then hug both knees in towards your chest. This time, just gently rocking your legs from side to side. Excellent. So from here, plant your feet down. Make sure that your heels are close enough to be able to top them with your fingertips. Ground your feet downward into the floor. And we're going to start to lift and lower the hips up off the floor. So push your feet down, lift your hips up, and then gently lower them back down and tap the mat. Lift the hips up and lower back down. So as we're lifting here, you should feel the work in the butt muscles. If you're not sure, you can hold your bridge and just check in. If you feel it in your low back, soften the space between your ribs and hips and continue with your lifting and lowering. Okay, so this bridging motion is the opposite hip stretch of what we just did. We pulled our knees in towards our chest. Now we're stretching the front of our hips by lifting them up to the ceiling. And again, this is kind of our active release. This is our warm up here. We're going to get a little bit deeper into that in a few moments. Good. That's it. 4 more. Lift on up for 3. Good. Last 2. 1 more time. Good. Pause here. Excellent. Now keep your right foot down onto the mat. You're going to take your left ankle and cross it over your right thigh. From here, before we get into this outside of the hip stretch, I want you to draw a couple circles with your left ankle rather. And I know you guys can't see that super well. I'm going to turn for just a moment so you can see. I'm just drawing some ankle circles here. You can go ahead and reverse that direction to continue with your ankle circles. And we're doing that here because sometimes stiffness in the ankle joint can actually lead to increased stress in our lower back when we walk and when we do stairs. So just a quick opening while we have a moment. Good. And last circle. So from here now, we'll take this into the outside of the left hip stretch. And you may already feel that stretch here. If that's the case, stay like this. Otherwise, start to walk your right foot in a little bit closer towards your bottom, perhaps even lifting and holding the back of your right thigh. If you are holding the back of your right thigh and your tailbone has lifted off the mat, I want you to work to push your tailbone down to be able to keep a more neutral spine. So that means that the stretch is just in the outside of your hip, not in your lower back. And we're stretching our hip for kind of the same reason we're stretching our ankle. It very closely relates to how our back is able to move. And if we have hip tightness, that's going to add to the stress that our lower back experiences when we do regular day-to-day activities. We'll try one more big deep breath here, filling up the bottom of our lungs first with air and exhaling out, getting rid of that air at the bottom of the lungs first, all the way out through the mouth. Good. Gently place that foot down. We're going to remove the left ankle and cross the right shin over your left thigh. Your ankle bone should be free. We're going to start to draw those circles. You may hear clicking, cracking, popping in your ankle. That's okay. Again, especially if this is the first moving you've done today, the joint is just warming up a little bit. So we're just trying to bring a little bit of extra blood flow, and we'll take that into a deeper stretch in a moment. Good. 4 more, and 3, and then we'll change directions right here. Good. So go ahead and reverse the directions of those ankle circles, starting to feel the ankle warm up. Maybe your feet are tingling. If you're getting a cramping feeling in your foot, just shake it out for a moment and you can come right back into it. Good. And then we'll take this into the right hip stretch. So walk your right foot in a little, your left foot in a little bit closer. If you would like to deepen that stretch, you can hug behind your left thigh. But remember, you don't want to curl the tailbone off the mat. So keeping the tailbone grounded should make the stretch a little bit more intense, but it should also protect your lower back here to target the outside of the right hip. And this should just feel like a stretch. If it feels like burning or pulling, pinching, back off a little bit to the point where it just feels like a gentle stretch. Good. We'll hold here. Again, taking that big inhale breath in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. We'll take one more breath, filling up the bottom of your lungs with air, inhaling in, and then exhaling out to release and let it go. Take both knees in towards your chest, gently rock from side to side, and then come all the way on up to a seated position. Excellent. So we're going to flip on over to the all fours setup next. So in the all fours position, we're going to line up with your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Now, if you have sensitive wrists or knees, roll up your mat a couple of extra times so that you can have some padding underneath those spaces. Okay, so once you find that extra padding, drop your shoulders down away from your ears. We're going to go through a few cat-cows. So very gently rounding the spine, allowing the head to hang, and then dropping the ribs down, lifting up your heart. This is within your body's comfortable range of motion, which might be different than mine and different than your neighbors. Just work within what feels good for your body here, nice and slow and steady. Good. You can pair this with your breathing to exhale as you round the spine, inhaling as you lower it back down, exhale to round the spine, and inhale to lower it down. Good, we'll try 3 more just like that, nice and gentle here. Last 2, good. And 1 more time there, good. Now we're gonna take the right knee outside the width of your mat, just a little bit. And so it may feel like a little stretch on the inside of your right thigh to begin. Once your leg is outside, gently push backwards and shift forward, gently pushing back and shifting forward. So as you push back, it's like you might sit over your heels, but you're trying to keep your tailbone flaring to the ceiling. So keeping the natural curve of your low back. And that should be a fairly intense stretch on the inside part of your right hip. Again, it should just be a stretch. It should not be sharpshooting, painful, so you can always back off if it does not feel that way, and just work within a smaller range of motion there. 3 more on this side. Good, that's it, guys. Last 2. And 1 more time here, good. And then we'll switch to the other side. So you can take your right knee back into the center, walk your right leg out a little bit wider than hip distance, and then very slowly start to sit back and forward. So again, you should feel this now on the inside of your your left hip. So around your inner thigh. You can always walk the leg out a little bit wider if you're not really feeling a stretch here. I also challenge you to try and press your hips backwards a little bit farther, and that should help to deepen the stretch as well. Good. We'll try just 3 more here. That's it, and softly shift forward. Exhale, reach back for 2. Good, and once more here. Good, and then come right back into the center. Now from this position, we're gonna come up into tall kneeling. So reach your right foot in front of you and come up to a kneeling position. Now again, you can add extra padding to your knees, but if kneeling really isn't in your practice, you're gonna mirror our movements up in standing. Okay, so that's an option for you here as well. You can hold on to something if you feel off balance. With the right foot forward, we're gonna be stretching our left hip flexor. Our hip flexor is the muscle right on the front of our thigh. It actually attaches to our lower back. So what we'll do here is straighten up our spine. I want you to stack tall, rotate your left hip forward to square off your hips. Engage your core and your left glute. And then if you do not feel the stretch already, you can lunge forward until you feel the stretch in the front of your left hip. Again, if you need to hold on to something here to relax, go ahead and do so. I want you to be able to feel the stretch without your whole body guarding up. Now, once you have that stretch in the front of your left hip, you can deepen that by reaching your right hand to the floor and taking your left hand up and over towards the right side. So very gently leaning sideways. I'll show you guys this one from the front in just a moment on the other side. Good, reach down through the right fingertips, up and over with the left. This is an optional add-on here. Take a big deep breath in through the nose and a breath out through the mouth. Excellent. Now we're gonna return our hands down to the mat next to your right foot. And we'll take this opportunity to get a little stretch through the back of our left leg by tucking our toes under and stretching the knee back behind you. Now, if this is not available to you, you can just rest here, or you can come up to standing as well with your hands on your thigh. Once we're in this position, I want you to push your weight backwards to flex your back foot, and that should give you a nice little stretch through your left calf muscle. So again, just kind of addressing some of that little ankle mobility. We'll take a big deep breath here. And a deep breath out, dropping the knee down. And we'll switch up and over to the other side. So this time, I'll turn so you guys can see from the front. We're gonna walk our left foot forward to stretch our right hip flexor. Pick your chest and spine up nice and tall. Push down into your left foot and engage your right glute, your right back muscle. Very gently, you can hinge forward if you need to deepen that stretch a little bit through the front of your right hip. Now, if you're feeling this in your lower back, that's probably meaning you've gone a little too far or you're leaning backwards. So try and pick your chest up. See if you can engage your core lightly here. That should help take the pressure out of your back and into your hip. Now we'll add that side bending here. So left hand this time is gonna reach towards the floor. You're gonna take your right arm up and over. And it's not a big movement here, just a gentle stretch up and over, reaching through your fingertips to lengthen this right side. And as you take your breaths here, really sending it down low into your belly. Big breath in. And exhale, breath out, release. Try one more time here, big breath in. And exhale out to release. Good. Now I'll turn back to the side. You're going to take your hands and frame your left foot or rest them on your thigh. And you can stretch and reach your right toes back behind you. And here I am actively pushing as though I am trying to push the mat away from me with my right foot. And that feels like a pretty deep stretch through my right calf muscle here. We'll hold and breathe for just another moment. And then gently lower down. We're gonna actually lower right onto our stomach from here. So slowly melting your spine down onto your stomach. Excellent. Now from this position, separate your feet a little wider than hip distance. Plant your hands flat underneath your shoulders and start to lift up your back, okay? You might be lifting just your upper back. If you're comfortable lifting all the way into your low back, you can do so here. So as we press and lift into our low back or even just our upper back, know that this is an extension. This is a backwards leaning, which is the opposite position of sitting. And so if you feel tight in this position, that's okay. That's normal. A lot of us are spending quite a bit of time sitting, but this is a great stretch to try and oppose those stiffness and tightness in our joints. Push down into your hands, let your arms do the work here, and drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Lightly gaze forward as you push your hands into the floor. We'll try 3 more. Slow and steady, gentle back down. Good, last 2. Gently melt back onto the mat. One more time here, press up. We'll hold, take a big, deep breath in through the nose and a breath out through the mouth, releasing to let it go. You can lower your spine down. This time, bring your heels together, toes apart, open up your knees, and you're gonna push yourself up and back and round into a child's pose, or what I would call a shell stretch. So your heels are together, your toes are apart, your knees are a little bit wider than hip distance. And if you feel comfortable here, you can even rest your forehead down onto the mat. If you are not comfortable sitting back that far, you can still drop your chest to the mat while keeping your tailbone up high towards the ceiling. That's more of what I would call a puppy dog stretch. So that's an option here as well. As you sit back in this position, try breathing up into the back side of your ribs. We'll try another big, deep breath in here. And then a breath out, releasing and letting it go. Come on up to a seated position. Now you can find any comfortable seat. If you can sit cross-legged, that's great. If you cannot sit cross-legged, you can sit with your feet out in front of you in a diamond position. You can also sit on your heels or find a couple of pillows to place underneath your hips. So find that comfortable seat and try to stack the spine tall, nice and proud. I hope you feel a little bit longer already from all that spine work we just did. We'll open up the arms here to take up space. Reach the fingertips out wide and start to dive your arms up and over. So here I like to imagine that I'm a windmill or perhaps a mermaid just gently floating through space, moving the arms up and over, reaching and lengthening the spine up tall. This addresses side bending. So moving our spine sideways, which I know it seems like maybe we don't do quite as much, but it actually makes up quite a bit of the forward bending and backward bending mobility that we're able to do. Good. 4 more. And 3. Very nice, guys. We'll add in a little rotation in 2. Once more here, dive your right hand down to the floor and your left arm up and over. Notice if your right shoulder is hiking up by your ear, press the floor away from you. And now you're going to rotate to tap your left hand towards the floor, gently open it up to the ceiling. So now we're adding in rotation, and this is actually upper back rotation. So twisting through our upper back, which again is an area where we tend to be quite stiff from sitting. So even if you can't reach the floor, that's okay. Gently rotate and turn as far as you can, and then open all the way back up to the center. Allow your rib cage to rotate around your spine as well at the same time here. 3 more. That's it. Good. Exhale, rotate for 2. Try once more there. Come back through the center, lift up through your left arm, dive it to the floor, and your right arm comes up and over. Good. Take your left shoulder away from your ear. Start to gently rotate to tap your right hand down. And again, this, because we're talking about upper back rotation, it's normal to have a difference from side to side. So just gently here, rotating to turn your chest down and opening up to the sky, making sure you get that full return back to the center before you rotate and twist down again. That's it. 3 more. Gently open up. Exhale, twist for 2. Opening on up here once more. Open up, come back through the center, and drop your arms down by your side. We're going to finish with our breath work just like we began. So stack your spine tall through the top of the head. Take an inhale, breath, and reach. Exhale, release, and let it go. Again, another inhale, breath, lengthen and reach. Exhale out to let it go. One more time here. Inhale, exhale, release, and let it go. Awesome, guys. So that concludes the movement-based part of our class. What I'd like to spend our last minute or 2 here doing is going over any questions that you have about today's program, about back pain, or anything along those lines. So let me get a little bit closer, and I will check the chat first and answer any questions that you have. And just while you guys come up with any questions, Hannah, thanks so much for joining.